and new people, and contrary people, positive people, negative people. We are the world. So I'm not expecting everyone to be the same. I do want you to like the video so somebody else might hear it a little bit later. You might hear something, and you ever hear something and wish that someone else heard it? You ever went somewhere and ever wish that somebody else was there, to participate in it or something like that? There. Well, I hope that my videos are those kinds of videos. I want them to be uh, reaching as many people as possible. Okay. All right. So, uh, subscribe to the channel, and I'll have an opportunity to, talk to somebody. It makes a difference when you think somebody is hearing whatever you're saying. Right? Right? Okay, so enough of the admin. So like and subscribe to the video. It's pretty simple. Okay, now I'm either going to be somebody that you could learn from, or it's someone that you could agree with, or I agree with some of the things you say. I'm not going to agree with anything you say if you don't put it in the comments. So put it, put it, put something in the comments or in the chat. It's automated, so eventually I'll see it and I'll respond to you. I don't have that many people subscribe to me, so it's not that difficult for me to respond to people's comments. Okay, so I had a moment of clarity. So since I keep up with whatever's going on, I listen to conspiracy theorists until they get exposed. Hey, hello, how are you, Baran? Baran? I'm from. Usually, people who act like that, they're from another country. So I'm just going to say I'm from America. Okay, that's cool. Well, welcome aboard. And what I try to do here is I try to cover a lot of topics. All right, because if I try to do a topic at a time, then I'll be doing videos out the wazoo. So I'll cover as many videos. I'll cover as many topics and subject as I can. Yeah, you're right. The USA is a nice country. However, since you have not been here, I want to give you a heads up. There is two things I'm going on here: the United States and America. Even though they might be like right across the street from each other, they're two different places. One of them is administrative, where the paperwork is handled, status is established, and there is America. So I'm from America, okay? All right. So whenever you have an opportunity to learn something about the differences that I just gave you, I want you to entertain them. I don't want you to think that they are a conspiracy or somebody got it twisted or something. So I'll tell you ahead of time. The USA and America is two different categories. Okay, America has all the people. All right, you're either from the South, you're from the West, or you're from the East, or you're from the North. That's America. But if you are a USA, you are administratively responsible and accountable to Washington, D.C. Okay? Anything that has United States in it, okay, or .gov in their URL or something. All right, so that's government. All right, so some Americans have what they call, or what is called, a government name. Okay, and for example, when your mom gets upset, and if she calls you, uh, the way she calls you, then that is your real name. Okay, but whenever you go to figure something out, um, administratively or healthcare or something like that, there, that is all done under a government name because they want to keep records of that and make sure that there's funds for that. And so that's record keeping. USA is record keeping. Okay, my government name is Clive. All right, what's up, Clive? That's an old person's name. You didn't just pick that name. You know what I'm saying? Nobody. Hey, hi, after 5 month. Okay. Okay. One of my favorite reaction of fit video guys, he says that like that. He'll say, okay. So I'm trying to emulate that, but I might not be tonally accurate with that. But in my brain, I could hear him saying, okay. All right. So see, I said it different. So anyway, okay. Clive Shakespeare. All right. Well, we had network blackout in Iran. Okay. So I don't mean to. Okay, since I just told you that USA and America is two different things. All right. I want you to know that the internet is done by cable, okay, under the water, and it's done by satellite. All right. So uh, just find an alternative way to connect to the internet. Okay. And you don't really have to uh, suffer a blackout. So, if you are using a government tool to access the internet, like a cell phone or something, your laptop or your desktop, if it's using an administrative tool, then it's probably coming through the cable, the underground, underwater cable. So you get yourself a satellite something, a satellite dish, a satellite. There's ways to get the internet. Okay, but anyway, we're glad that uh, one way about Iran, and USA feels another about Iran, which we call in slang, they are feeling themselves. Whenever somebody says, "Oh, you're feeling yourself," it just means that you are exuding a confidence in yourself that you know may not actually be present. All right. So most of what they are doing in the USA or the United States or Washington D.C. is not representing the people. This new style of governing is representing. They come up as a group and to present the Americans. But the problem is they will put it in force first and then say, okay, here, this is what we're going to be doing now. So if you guys can hold on, Wait on the Lord, see his hand. All these people will be separated. The Bible says it like this, Clive. When it's time for the hand of God to move, he wants to separate what we call the wheat from the chaff. All right. Is your government, are you an agricultural country, or are you a technical country? Do you, all right. I haven't heard of your kind of, as an American, thinking of someone from, I would think that you guys are spiritual, because you have the thing where you exonerate a cow. I don't know uh, if you have them walking around in your federal building or your county building, but the regular people um, don't have cows. Kind of how, all right, we don't have a problem. I don't. We don't have any cow examples, but the regular Americans are closer to the regular people from India. Okay, so for example, you come here from India and do perfectly fine, fit right in. One thing I learned, Clive, is that people are the same. I mean, not Clive, Burham. One thing I learned, Mr. Burham, people are the same where you, all right, where they get, all right, now, that wear hoods and run around with tiki torches and uh, stuff. Have you ever noticed, if you're paying attention, the guys who are running around with tiki torches and talking about white supremacy and whatever their particular uh, point of view is, they don't feed the uh, poor or homeless, or they're or under a bad influence, and they may follow somebody on the wrong path. Okay, so anyway, this is why I started this video today. I wanted to talk about one thing specifically, and then I'll go other things. Let's go into the data center. Other countries, are you getting data centers like we are? No, okay, nobody. Do you have a data center wherever you are? Because apparently they're being advertised as being everywhere. So what they'll try to do as a government, they'll try to portray it like it's everywhere. So the Americans will accept it as, okay, well, it's everywhere. So it's no big deal if we have one also. So from the non-response I'm getting, I'm going to go with you guys don't have a data center over there. All right. So we have this term called land locked. Okay. A landlocked place doesn't have any rivers. It might have a lake or something, but basically, it doesn't have ships. A landlocked place, it doesn't have a port. I'm thinking of a port because of the tariffs and stuff like that. The tariffs are being enforced kind of at the coastal areas we have, okay? And things are brought in, dropped off at the port, and shipped out to the landlocked areas. So this is why you pay so much. So, for example, we have heard that people in Arab countries only pay like $2 a gallon. for gas because they're right there. Okay, so gas should be cheaper for a local. All right, so now stick with me. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, help me get 1,000 subscribers. If you subscribe to my channel, it'll automatically subscribe to your channel, and I'll help you, and that'll help you get your subscribers up as well. Okay, so uh, talking about the data centers is what we're talking about. New people just coming in the room. Um, they say that the data centers are going to suck up all the water, and we're talking about the landlocked places. Okay, a landlocked places, kind of like in the middle of the kind of like in the middle of America. Okay, there's the only way to get there is to drive, okay, or maybe fly, but you're not going to take a cruise and end up in the middle of the United States, okay, or in the middle of America. Okay, so but this is where they want to put the data centers. And this is why I, 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 I led up to this opinion by telling you the leaders that we have now, they're a little bit younger, they're not as seasoned, and the ones that are or have been around for a while, they get a little bit, they want to do what the group does. They want to be liked. You know what I'm saying? Or they have a rule where everybody who's a Democrat or everybody who's a Republican, we're all going to vote the same. Okay? And the benefit of that is whenever you, as a leader, come up with something and you need votes, then people will vote with you as well. So that's the only advantage I could see for everybody voting the same. It's called the party line. Okay? Now, we know that the Bible says that in the book of Genesis, the waters was separated. Okay? So everything, so space in this story or scenario, space is water. Okay? It isn't that much of a stretch to believe that the oceans are space. All right, because if you look at the story that people have been believing all along, the water had to be separated. So what the designer was doing was he made a hole in the water of space, and then he by doing that, whatever was dry became exposed, or whatever was solid became exposed. That's just 6 days of creation. But my point here is that he separated the waters and the firmament, all right, from the waters, or he separated the firmament from the waters. So the firmament is above and the waters are below, but it's the same. It's the same whole. It's the same part. All right. It's just some is below and some is above. If you take a pitcher of water, look at a ball, spill the water onto the ball, it'll go down all the sides. All right. It won't just go down in a stream. All right. So kind of get this picture. Okay. Because this is the beauty of the creator. So below us is water, above us is water. Where the data centers are, they have water above them, and they have water below them. And what they call those are aquifers. aqua for water. I don't know what the first stand for. So they call those aquifers, or they seem to think that it's a water reserve. So kind of look at it like this. Um, Even though you are from another country, I'm pretty sure you have a well somewhere. And the way they get to it is they don't fill the well up, wait for it to rain, and the water will fill up the well. No, they actually dig down until they reach water. That is called the aquifer, or the water table. All right. And that it seems to be unlimited. See, that's the problem with the new people. They're thinking that they're tapping into, boy, a limited water supply. I personally think that the water supply is infinite. Okay, because it's space. They even train our astronauts. They train our astronauts in water. Okay, but I don't get it. Why would you train him in stick? So the new they're thinking, but because anyone saying that the water table is infinite, so maybe they're just proceeding like the subject is understood. If we have a conversation, um, and I might not be specific, kind of like what I am now, we're doing what is called the subject is understood. All right, that's what that sort of statement means. All right, now the people who live in those neighborhoods, in theory, if you follow the conspiracy theorists and stuff like that, they're complaining about the noise. All right, they're complaining about the I don't know, pure dig a hole and a pipeline to the water, and they don't think that it's not contaminated or have dirt in it or something like that. So that water has to be processed and has to be continually monitored, because just because you dug into an aquifer or the water table, it doesn't mean that all the water that it's sucking up is going to come through clear. It might have patches of dirty water in it. All right. So you have to monitor that. So you need a machine for that. That's going to run off electricity, and that's going to run 24/7 as long as they're sucking up the water. And they have to have a reserve or a buildup of the water to start what we call that priming the pump. If you guys are from another country and if you have a well, you know, turning the pump on and think it's going to work. Uh, no. It's kind of like I have to do my blood pressure reading every day. My blood pressure is higher when I first wake up. Because blood, all right. So when I stand up, all the blood goes straight to the bottom, as opposed to when I stand up, all the blood rushes to my head. Okay. So this is going to give me a high blood pressure reading, because now that I'm walking around, my heart got to pump to get all that blood from my legs and my feet to start circulating. Okay. So the blood is already in the. I just got to get um, into the well. Not so much the well where you take a bucket and drop it in the well. All right. Okay. So anyway, you guys are overseas, so you're used to you're used to seeing this type of mechanism. All right. Okay. Now I'm saying all that to say If they are going to do a data center, get all the water in the world, you know, it's like on an oil rig or out in the ocean. That's where the data center should be. Okay, where we have these falls or FALS. We have these waterfalls. That's a name that you would know by. And they, it's a fall that never dries out. Never dry out. Okay. They should put that sensor near a waterfall. Okay. And to get all the water they need. Some places, like a dam, has the power to contain the water, let it run, and let it run over a machine, and it generates electricity. And it's cleaner than nuclear, but yeah, so, I don't know. Somebody came up with that idea, and the problem with the nuclear energy is eventually you got to do something with all that waste. So it is better to have a uh, a dam situation going on there. But the problem with the dam is they tend to hoard the water, and the people downstream may be shorted of water. Like in Cuba, they have blackouts now because they have no oil. All right, whatever they were getting, what was measured and metered to them in the first place because of punishment. Hey, Australia! I've learned some things about Australia, so I am no longer thinking of Australia about like the guy who there's this one actor. He was from Australia, and the way he communicates or makes a phone call is he spins this seashell or something like that there, and since it's flat, uh, that the sound travels. So that is their form of a telephone call or something like that there. Now, what is that guy's name? I know it is not Indiana Jones, so let me get that off. But I think it might have been the same actor in Indiana Jones that was in that movie. But anyway, Australia is uh, it's cool. Okay, it's I believe that it might be a landlocked place as well, even though it's like sitting smack dab in okay. Hey, Paul, good to see ya. Okay, so now let's get back to the data centers. They All right. So number one, put it in the ocean, just like an oil rig. The president is complaining about one country putting in, or our president is complaining about a country outside of the USA that wants to put windmills. And the problem with that is he has a golf course near where they want to put the windmills. And for some reason or another, that's going to be an issue for him. Hey, Hogan. Okay, that's cool. That's all right. Once we connect, it really doesn't matter uh, what your name is, because we're going to connect, and we'll become familiar with each other. So you'll have a certain style that you respond with, and I'll recognize that style. Okay, so don't worry about it, Tony. Tony. All right. Um, so so he's complaining about the windmills, and I guess since he gets what he wants, they probably won't put the windmills in there. Now, I also learned something about golf courses, uh, listening to the conspiracy theorists. What we tend to do is we try to cover stuff up. Overseas people, you guys are kind of good for that because of, let's say, the mud flood theory. Um, Buildings uh, were involved in a flood, and the flood was mud, not water. Okay, so a lot of stuff got covered up. If you go, like, for example, I don't want to pick on poor Africa, and I don't mean poor Africa as in poor, because they are the breadbasket of the world. Okay, so yeah, yeah, it was. Computers are made up of crystals, wires, and stuff like that. So I could I could see your perception of the ark was made of gold, wood, and other stuff. All right. Hey, sweetie, it was venomous. Okay. All right. So if that's where it was, okay. Oh, sweaty, sweetie. Okay. I'd rather say sweetie than sweaty, but yeah, it. Some say tomato, some say tomato. All right, guys, do me a favor. Like the video. All we're going to do is we're just going to talk. I'm an old man talking. I'm not going to give you the solution for 2 pi r on here. Okay, or pi 2r or 2 pi r or whatever. We're just talking. All right. I want to hear from you. You're listening to me. All right. We're just going to kick it. I'm back and forth. We're communicating. We're present at this time in each other's lives. I'm going to benefit from it, and you're going to benefit from it. You benefit differently being present than if you go over it later. All right. So let's not forget. Like a, like the video. Do it now so you don't have to worry about it later. Okay. All right. Now. All right. So most of what we have, since we have limited land, we build on top of the existing culture or the pre existing culture. All right. So we don't take the time to dig up and displace the pre-existing cities and states and stuff like that. They just flood it out and just build on top of it. Okay. All right. Those. All right. Those. Hold on. Let me see. I'm trying to block the sun. Okay. Those floating spaceship like arcs. Oh yeah. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. Arcs. Um, China had its own arc. South America. Yeah, you're right. You are what we call part of the woke community. And people who are not part of the woke community will still believe that it was described as being made of wood. Okay. So, I mean, I don't know if Noah understood what the creator or the author of his destiny was trying to do with him. All right, because they never had boats before, because it never rained. So but they were sophisticated, and they probably had those type of things you mentioned, sweetie. All right, all right. There was a different name then. You're right. Each language has its own name for it. Okay, so some of the descriptions will vary. If you got 10 people in a circle, one person, two persons, three persons, four persons, you give them all a number, and somebody whispers into somebody's ear maybe four four sentences, and the number one will whisper into number two's ear those four sentences, blah blah blah, all the way till 10. By the time it gets to the 10th person, those four sentences were changed. Okay, so it'll ultimately end up being a completely different four sentences. It might have some things. All right, so kind of look at it like that. Don't take it personal if somebody believes it the way you do. All right, it's crazy. The Bible is like a history map of Earth, and you have to find out why it's here if they're aliens. Okay, I would. All right, sweetie. Aliens coming from the water. If you follow this line of thinking, all right, because it's a certain thought process that people think about aliens. Okay, for example, they believe that Earth was created by a Big Bang. Okay, and over time, we were, I don't know, fish or eels or something, and eventually we walked on to land, and then eventually got uh, we started walking upright, and then we started making clubs and clubbing our women on the head and dragging them into the cave. All right, now that's a mindset that some people have. All right, but with aliens coming from the water, well, that is the mindset of people. That's their mindset because they believe that we came from the water. Okay, all right, and now the Bible type of mindset people believe that we came from a creator. All right, so both are right. Okay, so I'm not going to, I'm not going to tell somebody who believes in the Big Bang Theory that that is the dumbest thing I ever heard because it's probably right. Something had to bang somewhere. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Okay, there was this spirit called the Holy Spirit that when from my perspective, because I'm a Bible guy, from my perspective is the Creator told the Holy Spirit, "Hey, this is what I want to make. Let there be light. Go out there and work it out." Like you just said, okay. There's a lot of aliens since beginning Kate of time. Yeah, you're right. Okay. It's crazy that the Bible is like a history map of Earth, and you have to find out why it's there if there's some aliens, right? Because the Big Bang Theory, people believe that we are aliens to the land, all right, and because we came from water, all right. And what I like about the older Bibles, and you may have access to them, but the older Bibles had pictures in it, and everybody knows a picture is worth a thousand a thousand words. Okay, so but now the newer ones don't because it's too expensive. All right, the Bible is the best-selling book of all time, and I'm pretty sure it's outsold the books about the Big Bang Theory. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying. All right, so the proof is in the pudding. Okay, but there's probably other sea aliens other than what is that? Sirens like Loch Ness. Okay, I can. When I look at the Loch Ness monster, I kind of think of it as like a snail. You know what I'm saying? Uh, you know, it's associated with water, and it's not going to walk on land because it doesn't have any feet. Okay, so it's a water thing. Maybe one day it'll turn into one of the Loch Ness monsters generations of eventually will come up with legs, and the Loch Ness monster will probably be like a dinosaur. Okay, which is completely absurd. Okay, how do they know what they look like? Okay, if they weren't there. Okay, how could you have a museum with dinosaurs in it? Because they say that a dinosaur is a dinosaur in a museum. They probably got from like one bone, and then they kind of estimated. Okay, this one bone, if it goes here on the animal, then we'll just kind of put the rest of the pieces together, or we'll just make the rest of the pieces. So that dinosaurs are absurd, but the people who believe in that, I don't have any problem with that. I'm not going to rain on their parade because people like that don't typically rain on people's parade that believe in the creation theory. All right, so I mean that's cool. All right, so I look at aliens. I don't look at aliens like some of the pictures we are shown of them because they don't really show us real life pictures. Kind of like NASA doesn't really show us, real life pictures. Okay. Oh, okay. So, for example, I don't know where you're from, but in America, I mean, I don't know where all you guys are from, but in America, we believe that our picture of Earth is somebody put it together. Um, okay, somebody actually took credit for creating the model of the Earth that we have. And at the same time, people who are like Bible believers believe that the Earth is not a ball; it's flat. Okay, all right. Eh, so here's what I believe. The Bible says that in the last days, leave the wheat and the chaff together. You could see that there's a problem. Kind of look at it like a farmer. He planted something, and another seed fell in it. Now his corn came out pink. All right, still perfectly good corn. You could still eat it, but since two seeds grew together, intertwined, now the corn came out pink. Where if it was a regular corn seed, the corn would have came out yellow. All right, so the Bible says, leave the wheat and the chaff together, and in the last days, the Creator will separate them. Okay? All right, so kind of look at it like that with the alien thing. Um, we have in the Bible, um, or Bible book believers, we have a very bizarre uh, picture of angels. Okay, angels, aliens, get it? They're just trying to go tick for tack here. All right, so angels, but the way they are described, it's not like the ones with the wings and the white robes. Angels literally will look like an alien. Okay, so they kind of go off of each other. But be of good cheer. You're gonna you weren't put down here to end up terrible. All right, so you'll end up um, after having these experiences, you should end up better. All right. Okay, so that's what we're going. All right. Let's see. Okay, they just keep that area almost off limits. Yeah, sure, because it's been years since it's been that way, and you want to keep it that way, I guess, for the future. But the problem is, but the problem with that is, you're not telling people what it is. You want people to go about their way and don't think about this. Don't look over here. All right, but I mean, we could benefit from that. The people who blocked it off, they're benefiting from it. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, kind of look at it like that. So the Loch Ness monster never leaves that spot, and no one can enter it. Okay, so uh, kind of look at it like this: uh, a beehive is just for bees, and you might not want to enter that. Okay, because the bees are not going to understand. Okay, all right, they got army ants and guards and all kinds of stuff that they have their community. Uh, Number one, bees usually don't have their hives on the ground. All right, bees usually have their hives up, elevated, and if they're attached to a tree, well, a tree has ants and stuff that protect it. All right, and but the ants won't attack the bees hive. All right, so kind of look at it like that. So yeah, leave the Loch Ness monster alone. If you ever seen it, um, you probably wouldn't believe it. And if people hadn't told you about it, you wouldn't even know about it because the Loch Ness monster does not want to be famous. It just wants to live. Okay, Loch Ness. No one can enter it. All right, that's cool. Thanks for letting us know because um, it must be a huge place because they can put boats in it and use that radar. Put more than one boat in there, okay, and just go from one side to another and probably find it. Okay, but I mean, they can't really hide as big as it is. All like that. All right, so they just keep that area almost off limits, and that's cool. All right, there's still dinosaurs still alive. I'm deep in the Earth's core. Sure, there's probably still some alive in the Amazon, too. Uh, we believe, as Bible believers, that the air and stuff was heavier then, or more humidity, so everything grew bigger. Big trees, I mean, big trees, big plants, big leaves. All right, everything was bigger, bigger people. And so it wasn't that much of a stretch for people who believe in the Bible to believe in giants. All right, and so anybody who thinks that Bible people are crazy for believing in giants, well, they're discounting the uh, story of the Big Bang people who might say that the Earth was more humid. Okay, everything was bigger. Okay, and as time went on, for survival, things got smaller. Okay, it isn't because of there's more people. It would make more sense for everything to stay bigger because there's more people. It seems like you want to. Have you ever seen a video where they have a contest and the farmers will bring the biggest pumpkin? Okay, all right. Well, that's how the pumpkins and stuff used to grow that big. All right, but now with our techniques, they don't grow as big. All right, so kind of look at it like that. All right. Yeah, it's made. All right. These other civilizations underneath us, Of course. But the person who told us about those, uh, there wasn't enough people that believed them. Like we believe that there was some kind of guy who had a plane and he kind of flew into some of the underworld places. We believe that, like Antarctica has underground civilizations, the North Pole with all its pyramids and stuff like that. There, these are entrances to underground places. That's fine. I mean, for what I do, I really don't have any exposure to them. So they're not zoo animals. They're not to be observed. They are living creatures. They don't want people to come gawking. So, oh, geez, what's down here? You know, Curious George or something like that. There, no, these are human beings that are aliens or whatever they are. They should be respected and have their privacy. And I'm not supposed to give it to them. They just have it. All right. They do come up here periodically, and it's reported that hey, we saw somebody, one of the mole people. Okay, we grew up in believing in like the mole people or scary movies and stuff. When it talked about the underground people, we used to call them mole people. So there's really nothing new under the sun. You guys are just calling it a different name. And before our time, they called it something else, the underground dwellers or something, or cave dwellers, or we used to what is that white people are called? Caucasus, the Caucasus Mountains and stuff like that. Even though it's a mountain, but they believe at some point Caucasian people lived in mountains. So who knew? That's going to have a lot to do with underground as well. But a lot of times people lived underground because of what? The dinosaurs, okay, and the aliens on the planet. Because we don't really have relationships with the dinosaurs. I guess the thing with the dinosaur is we look good enough to eat. Hello, okay. So these other civilizations underneath us, you're right. All right, there might be another civilization above us because it's like Argartha, way beneath us near the core. Yeah, sure. We believe from the beginning he separated the firmament from the waters. All right, so if it's on top, it's called firmament. If it's on the bottom, it's called waters. And they both have life in it. All right, the water's got all the fishies, and the firmament has all the angels and spaceships or armanas and stuff like that. That's where all that is. But it really doesn't have anything to do with us. They would never come over here. Okay. Um, we would have to go up there and in our little spaceships, polluting space with our fossil fuels, and they'd have to come across us like, hey, what's that over there? They don't have anything to do with us, and they probably are just curious. Somebody came up with some kind of deal, and they're like, okay, you guys could come in, take as many humans as you want, but give us some of your technology. You know what I'm saying? People are sick. Okay, so anyway, it hasn't happened to me yet, but I have seen a UFO. So that's kind of and it was close enough to me that I could hit it with a rock. And I'm only 5'6". I like to say I'm 5'7". But I believe that this thing was close enough for me that if I found the right size rock to reach it, I could have thrown that rock and hit it. You know, kind of like David did. I'm Goliath. If I had a slingshot or something, I'm pretty sure I could have hit that joker. Especially if you see how they actually use slingshots. Those are very powerful weapons. All right. I think they hit almost with the same force as a bullet. Okay. And I hope that you come across a video of people using a slingshot. And I don't mean these kinds of slingshots where you pull it back. Pew. No, this kind of slingshot, they wrap it around their arm and and it's about this long, and in the bottom is a rock or something, and they whip that joker around, kind of like they do in Australia. Um, I, I don't, why can I remember that name of that movie? All right, but anyway, so cultures do have um, weapons, ways to communicate by taking something and uh, whirl, uh, whirling it around. Sheesh. Yeah, I do stammer. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, so, but it looks like we are on the top layer surface of Earth, and there's more underground. Yeah, the agriculturalists, for example, will talk about top soil, and the thing about topsoil and stuff, it kind of runs off, and then eventually you're not using the topsoil. So that's why they came up with fertilizer. Okay, but at some point there's going to be an issue because we're not going to have topsoil. Now we had that before. We had that before as Americans, and that period was called the Dust Bowl, and we had if there's a fire, it burns everything. Okay, and the winds and stuff would just make dust. Okay, and the area wasn't as concretey. It wasn't a concrete jungle back then. It was mostly land, and they would have fires all the time, and it just burned everything around the human and populated areas. And whenever the wind came, kind of look at it like a sandstorm in Arabia. Okay, they have them every year, but we had them back in the day, and they were called the Dust Bowl age. Right. So since then, we've concreted everything. We've built over everything that was existing, so dust doesn't really fly around so much. But since that is a form of what nature does, we are having an epidemic of pollen. And woo, um, in the flatter areas, it's terrible, but in the hilly areas, it isn't so bad. However, anywhere there's a tree, there's going to be a pollen epidemic because the, what we do here, I don't know what you guys do in other countries, but what we've allowed them to do here is only plant male trees. All right, so the pollen comes from the male tree. All right, it doesn't come from the female tree. So since most of our uh, so the majority of our trees are male trees, and the way males make other trees is they pollinate. All right, but there's no female trees to catch that pollen. Oh boy, here we go. So that's going to be an issue because we believe that I went to California and they have orange trees on the street. So it was my first time going to that part of California. So I picked a orange. And the lady that I was with, she was like kind of panicking. She's like, "Hey, we're not allowed to eat those." I'm like, "Well, okay." So the people who are industrialists, uh, they want to charge you for food. So they pass some kind of law. Hey, you can't eat this. You got to go to the store and buy it. You know what I'm saying? So it's insane. I like the conspiracy theorists who say things like, "Yeah, it's absurd that we have to pay to live on God's earth, to live in a house, to pay for electricity. All this stuff is here, it's provided for us. They're not making electricity, they're just harnessing it. You know, lightning bolts are free. Okay. So what they figured out how to harness it, and they figured out how to make it, and now they just charge you for it, and that's absurd. And it's the same thing with our trees and our female trees, like an apple tree or something. And that changed during my lifetime. So I'm like 68 or 69, but that changed in my lifetime because when we were growing up, children's age, we had an apple tree, plum tree, something else, some other kind of tree. All right, never got stung by a bee, never got pecked by a bird. All right, it we got along with the trees. Okay, but they figured out how to make money off of it. Anything they figure out how to make money off of is going to end up being a disaster. All right, because they make the money off of it and then they leave the ruins behind. So they're not really collaborating with the earth. You know what I'm saying? All right, Philippians 2 and 10. That at the name of Jesus, every knee should bow in heaven and on earth and under the earth, and every tongue acknowledge that Jesus Christ is Lord, to the glory of God the Father. Now that's pretty simple. But if you believe in the Big Bang Theory, that is going to be foolishness to you. So we exist, and I don't want to put what I'm believing over what you believe. If it works for you, it works for you. If I can influence you to read Philippians 2 and 10, and I would hope and pray that you're going to reach the same conclusion that I did. All right? But if not, Randy, you just keep putting it out there anyway, okay? That's all you can do. Do. All right, let's see. I just did that. All right, let's see. All right, sweetie. They had giants make those monolithic structures. Yeah. Isn't that something? They can't figure out how they made them, so they'll, instead of saying that the creator of heaven and earth did it, they'll try to give credit to the giants. Okay, I guess there are some things that giants can do. And making pyramids could be that. But wouldn't it make more sense that people from the inside of the earth would have more propensity to make monolithic structures? All right, because there's nothing inside the earth but rocks and crystals and stuff like that there, so they have to learn how to create an environment that would have these monolithic structures because they were used for support and stuff like that there. Okay, so you can do both. All right, learn a little about the Big Bang Theory people and learn a little about the creation theory, because I tell you what, whatever one is true, that's the one that's going to end up being followed. Okay, hold on. It's getting a little bit toasty in here. I got my window closed because there's construction all over the place. Our city and our boroughs and our neighborhoods and townships are being bombarded with construction now. So they're taking some of the money from the space programs and actually spending it on or from the industrial war complex or the industrial military complex, and I'm spending some of that money on infrastructure. Okay, which I don't. Hey, they build our infrastructure over something else, so we're not really gonna. If whatever we have here on the surface becomes under a disrepair, we could kind of get rid of it and just expose what's below it, which is probably better or built more sturdily because we put what we have on top of it. Okay, you, they say the conspiracy theorists say that the concrete that's been used in New York is gathered together in a quantity that is making the states sink or the city sink below the water line or the sea line or whatever. Okay, but I saw an interesting experiment. It was a science teacher, and he was trying to teach this little girl something about volume and water. So what he did was he took some water and put some he put some ice cubes in a glass, and then he filled it up. And he asked the little girl. He said, "When this water melts, oh, he asked her. He said, no, when we come back tomorrow, what do you think is going to happen?" Okay, and she said, "Well, the water will melt." And she said, "Well," and so he asked her. He said, "Well, will the water spill over?" All right, and he left it there so that she would contemplate that. So he showed a very interesting theory here that by volume, even though the ice melts, the volume that the ice is part of the volume. So the volume isn't going to increase when the ice melts. Okay. Now it will overflow if you put the water in the glass first, and then put in the ice cubes. Well, of course, the glass will overflow. But if you put the ice in first and then fill it up with water, that glass won't overflow. It's amazing. Okay, somebody had time to do that. People got too much time on their hands. Okay, okay, and people too. Okay, some believe that the Anunnaki made people, okay, as opposed to their creator of people. It's called Anunnaki. For Bible believers, the creator's name is God. Okay, now, to be fair, none of us know what God looks like. All right, now, other cultures know what their God looks like because they, drew pictures of him, Anunnakis. Okay, but the problem with that was those Anunnakis made people to be slaves. Hey, to this day, even if you are an American, you are in a form of slavery. Don't get it twisted. Okay, you have to work. They switched everything up. We used to be cavemen. We can go out there and kill a dinosaur and eat for 2 weeks. You know what I'm saying? Or try. All right, but now things are a little different. You guys are adults, so I'm not going to really sweat that issue. I'm pretty sure you guys are going to reach the same conclusion I did. Hold on, the sun is killing me. Holy moly. How can I block that? All right, maybe that'll do it. No? Oh, well. Okay, let me sit up. Okay, let me see. North Pole and South Pole are underground places to enter to to, to go down. Yep. Um, would like to just be the devil's advocate here and say wherever you are, when we were kids, we believed that you could dig to China. All right, dig down to China. But whenever you came up in China, you would be you wouldn't be facing down. You would be facing up. It's amazing. So the same thing with let me see here. Oh boy, it's blinded me. Blinded by the light. I wonder if I open the door. No, that's not gonna help. All right, guys. Sorry about that. You're just gonna have to deal with it. All right. All right, ant people. Sure, even our superheroes have an ant man. Okay, and he could shrink to the size of an ant. And the Hopi Indians and other cultures here in America, they actually drew pictures of ant people as gods and stuff like that there, or at least something to be feared, because they didn't show pictures of the ant people where people back then were paying homage or worshiping or praising them. Okay, so yeah. All right, did the light show on UFO and dark behind it? Well, the way I look at it is if it has lights, it's probably man made or Anunnaki made, okay, not God made. Because when the angels are described in the Bible, none of them got lights. So anything that has lights is, uh, you know, man made, alien made, or something. And there's this agreement. Remember, there's this agreement. We can use their technology as long as we give them some people for food. You know what I'm saying? That's absurd. Yeah, okay, but anyway, I've heard stranger things. Do lights? So did the light show on the UFO, and I'm dark behind it? Yeah, it all depends on where you're looking at it. Depends on your angle. Okay, because some people won't see it. It's like the in America, we try to send people to the moon. And what they do is they take this completely rigid object and shoot it up. And for some reason or another, we believe that the earth is moving. All right. The Big Bang Theory people think that it's 2,000 miles per hour and everything is revolving around this particular planet or whatever. All right. But they believe it's moving. So these completely erect objects will start out straight and then they'll curve like this. All right, around about the point where you would think they're hitting the firmament, or they would hit the firmament, where the creator or the creationalists believe. All right, and then it goes back down. But depending on your angle, it never really looks straight. The only time it looks straight is whenever it's going off or taking off. And then after that, at any angle you look at it, it's curving. So, there should be a reason for pause there. But anyway, they perpetrate it. NASA means, in Hebrew, it means deceit. Okay, so the people who believe that NASA is deceit would probably be a creationalist. And people who believe that it's real would believe in the Big Bang Theory. Kind of look at it like that, okay? Okay. Why would... To me, it has to make sense. Why would the creator of heaven and earth put us down here and not make a way for us to go up there? Okay? And why would the creator create something and you have to have on a suit in order to go into it? All right? An angel suit or a space suit or something like that there. Okay? So, for example, we weren't meant to be in the water. That's the mermaid's area. But to be fair, the mermaid is not made to be on land either. All right, so that seems more like what the creator would do than what with the Big Bang Theory people. I'm sure that they wouldn't have any explanation for that. So their default answer would be there's no such thing as mermaids. Okay, so are you with me on that one, Sweaty? Sweaty or Sweetie? All right. Legalized stream fish, Colorado River, cane, Todd, Yopo, Felicia, Iboga. I don't know what all those things are, but all those things are legal. They are already legal. But the problem is where they get you is if you light it and if you smoke it. Because to be others who might not want it. Big bang free type of thinking. All right, you're subjecting people to something that they don't want. So we're going to make it, okay, odoriferousness. But here's the thing. See, this is wrong. This is what's wrong with their logic. Uh, they will subject you to stuff that you might not want to be. Okay, and it was that way for 60 years because they said they went to the moon in the 60s and they hadn't been back since. Okay, so nobody was interested in going to the moon. Who was interested in going to the moon in the first place? Even what you could see of the moon, it doesn't seem like there's anything up there. So, you're just wasting gas. But the Big Bang Theory people don't seem to think so. Hey, herbs and animals are life. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. Because it you can you could take it, you could eat it, and it won't make you sick. You could smoke it, and it won't make you sick. And my animals can actually heal you. They take the trained pets and stuff, and they take them into the senior citizens homes, and the people are as happy as uh, can be. The people who are non-verbal might actually become a little more active, being verbal around pets. Um, Yesterday, uh, it isn't as comfortable as I would like it to be inside my apartment because my neighbor who shares an apartment next to me is a little more vocal about some of the things that they don't like, noise levels, my smoking my cigarettes and stuff like that. There, I would never smoke kratom or any of that stuff, kratom or any of that stuff. Um, is on the inside. Um, comfortable. All right, I could just sit in my car, sit on the porch. It's 80 degrees outside. I'm good. Okay. Now all I need is a laptop. So if anybody has one that they're not using, hey, look, I'm not gonna go into your it and try to figure out how to sabotage you or something. No, I just need a laptop, and they're kind of expensive here. They do have laptops for seniors, but they make it so stupid. You got to set up an appointment. I'm like, oh. And then the guy who is supposed to sell you the laptop for a senior price, they take off that day. So basically, I could either pay the price, the normal price for a laptop, or which is kind of cost preventative, which is why I'm trying to get people to like my videos and subscribe to my channel, so I can myself this way and buy things that I need. But hey, if you box it, try to ship the cord as well. Okay, and I will be eternally grateful. All right. Now let me see. And yeah, if you want to send some of that kratom too, no, don't do that. No, don't do that. Don't send that kratom because they can technically call you out on that. But I want you to know, as long as it's not lit, it's legal. But once you light it, so I don't know. You don't want to be known for shipping kratom in the through the U.S. Postal Service. They feel then. All right, so if you can help me out on that, let me know and hit me up. DM me and we'll work something out on that one. Okay. All right, sweaty. A UFO is seen what was at night. Headlight on the door like blue, red, and yellow, and seeing the door part of it lit only, and the back of it was dark and hovering. Now, okay, so the one I saw, all right, it seems like you were close enough to, look, hey, you described the thing, and you're not vague. You're specific in your description. Well, the one I saw, I'm sweaty, was what they call a TR3B. I even thought of looking for TR3Bs or even have a TR3B uh, around me um, or in my vicinity. The conspiracy theorists would show you the Google map images of secret bases, because you can't, if you can't get the internet, well, you can use like the Google map uh, internet thing. There's ways to do it, all right, but the average person won't know, and if you're a senior, you really won't know. But if you're young and if you're industrious, you'll be able to figure out how to get the internet. Okay, we have the Roku, all right, and apparently, you can get internet anywhere in the world if you have that, or maybe in a bunch of countries. All right, but you don't. So you're not physically connected to the cable underwater internet. Okay, so work it out, guys. All right, so la, la, la. All right, so be sober and vigilant, gods. Okay, Randy, that's cool, but I want you to take a look at King Solomon. Okay, and I want you to take a look at David. So if you want me to be sober and vigilant and become richest man, he's the richest. It's deeper when it comes to um, sober and vigilant, because the creator of heaven and earth, he's going to create, he's going to communicate with you. All right, so being sober and vigilant is more uh, like concerning your environment, your navigation through the spiritual and physical, all right, stuff like that there. All right, but thank you for sharing that, Randy. There's people need to hear some scriptures, because those scriptures get in your head and do what they're supposed to do. The Bible says that his word is not returned to him void. Kind of make the connection that once you accept that there is a God, then you'll find out that that God is actually in you. So he used someone else to use his words, because you were busy and occupied not being sober and not being okay. See where I'm going with that, guys? Okay, so Exodus 30, 22 to 33. Canaan bosoms to cannabis in holy anointing oil. Hebrew version of this. Just to use something more recent, the airport stopped these monks, and they were bringing in cannabis. They apparently they had to go fly to get it, or whatever, and they bought it back. So monks, who are spiritual people, they use the cannabis, and they use the kratom, and they use all this stuff. But they are monks. They are spiritual people. All right. If you see a monk, you will know that that is a spiritual person anywhere in the land. If you look at Mother, Sister Teresa, all right, because of the way they dress, some of the things they say, but I would not be surprised. And hey, I'm not trying to disparage anyone's name, But I'm pretty sure that Teresa, Mother Teresa probably used some of that stuff that was described above, because apparently there was no food. They're kind of close to they're closer to the caveman days, and I'm gathering food. All right, so back there in those areas where she was, you have to go out and you have to hunt. All right, because there's no stores out there, so you get it. And so anyway, thank you for that. Herbs and animals are life. All right. Be sober and vigilant. God. All right. Somebody repeated that one. All right. Okay. Okay. Daddy, pray. I pray for others, not gaslight. That is also true. Thank you. Cannabis help sober people up because you can think honestly if you use cannabis. They say the same thing about people who drink. An alcoholic will tell you the truth every time. But what you're saying and doing is so true. All right. God snapped his finger and made the Big Bang. The Big Bang shows that we are in assimilation from the Creator. All right. My problem with that statement is the words that they use. So, with the assimilation, it was created to do something, and then it just continues to do that. A tree, uh, the Bible says, if you unless seed fall produce fruit. All right. So I kind of look at it like assimilation. I look at it like something was created and now it's in more like a cycle, more like all right, then assimilation. But hey, the assimilation is also true. Thank you for that. Plant and animals and fungi. Yep, like the mighty mushroom. You know what I'm saying? A giant explosion could create life. Could that mean that the creator was in charge of this giant explosion? Uh, uh, that's the Anunnaki, right? Because the creator would not have put giants down here when they didn't have enough. Put giants down here when they didn't have enough food, giant food or dinosaur food. Get it? So there has to be something else that introduced that. The people from inside the earth. Okay, so kind of look at it like that. All right, it's the last comment. So every time we blow something up, we're making microplanets. Well, I kind of look at it like this. They say that if you cremate someone, if you take a magnifying glass, one in a lab, not one that you can hold in your hand, start a fire with if sunlight hits it. Um, they say that person get your eyes examined. And I'm still waiting for someone to do a prayer so we can close. I want you to do the prayer. Um, ask your like your universe, how when a cremated person, if you look at their cells and stuff, blah blah blah, you see the universe. So yeah, you're that is also right. Every time we blow something up, but the way we do it is that we blow things up to uncover something, like maybe there's a portal somewhere and something came through and the only way to get rid of it is to blow it up, or we blow up stuff because somebody's not doing what we want, or I don't know. There's lots of reasons for blowing stuff up that they have, and it to me, I just don't want nobody to get blowed up. Nobody I know, nobody I see. I don't want to see anybody get blowed up. All right, herbs and animals. You want to close prayer or no wrong prayer? Randy, do you have a prayer you want to share? If you do it now, it'll be uh, heard, or it can be heard or read years from now. Take advantage of that. You can use my channel to do that. All right, Sweaty, you want to pray? Pray, pray. It'll change your day. Okay, guys. All right, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Grand rising and make it a great day.